right, we're back at Got Grit, the podcast to help the helpers stay in the fight. My name is Rich. I'm the executive director here at Gospel Rescue Mission. I'm here with Tom Martindale, and we're just talking about the challenges that we face. The public doesn't always understand the men and women we serve, whether they're lower middle class or they're in poverty themselves. The population doesn't understand it. A lot of times, as we work with these men and women, there are challenges. They will relapse, or they will go back to whatever lifestyle they've known before. They'll ignore all the stuff that they've already learned over the past 3 years. You put all this investment into them, you put them in your heart, and they go back to that same old lifestyle. And a lot of us in middle class would say, we did what we could, we're sorry, we're walking away. And maybe that's the right thing to do in that moment, but the truth is that breaks your heart, and you're frustrated, and a lot of times you want to quit. So, Tom, can you share with us a little bit about how you've been able to stay involved in this, even despite some of those who haven't quite made it?
Sure. Well, I think with, as in most other things, it comes down to what we focus on. If I am focused on how many don't make it, or how many people seem to be making some progress, and then for whatever the reason revert back to some of the old behaviors, what I have to remind myself of is how difficult so many of our habits are to actually change in one instant, and from there no longer have the problem. That's not been the case in my life. The things that I've wanted to change have taken time. And many times it's been 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, and continuing to persevere, to move on. I think in not only for me, but in observing the volunteers that we've had over these several years, just in the Bridges Out of Poverty initiative, we've been blessed with a number of people who have literally been with us as volunteers from the very beginning. But to be sure, this is difficult work, because it's not like doing a test in arithmetic, and if you understand arithmetic, you're going to come up with the right answers, and once you know how to add and subtract, from there on in, you don't have the problem. We're dealing with real life human beings, and quite often the miracle that happens for them, and sometimes it's nothing short of a miracle, is that they fail the first time around, and maybe they struggle the second time around, and eventually the miracle happens and they come out of it. And if I could, let me give you a real live example of an individual who came through the second Bridges Out of Poverty or Getting Ahead and Just Getting By World Workshop that we did. All right. So here's a person, a single mom, working 2 jobs, graduated from the Getting Ahead workshop, and it was 3 or 4 months following her graduation that, while coming home from work one night after leaving her second job at a convenience store, just had to pull over to the side of the road and just sat down behind the wheel and was just weeping, and realized that she wasn't having a nervous breakdown. What was happening was she was so exhausted from working these 2 jobs that she just had no more energy to pour out. And then she remembered a little something that she had worked on during the Getting Ahead workshop, and said, this is not about working harder, this is about working smarter. Got home, prayed about it, and the next day went in, enrolled in school to get her education in social work. Quit her second job tightened up the budget enough to just be able to make it, and started down a path where scholarships wound up being available. It wasn't a monetary, it wasn't near the monetary problem that she thought it was going to be to go back to school, and today is, you know, a living, breathing success story. So, you know, we never know when those